would end up right back in the jurisdiction that they fled. So feast your eyes on those guys. They didn't do so well. I'm going to talk about a few of those famous cases and how they apply or not to the Laundrie manhunt with some of the leaders in their field. Joel Lambert, I don't have to tell you, has helped us to understand just what it takes to survive as a wanted person wherever in the world you may be. He is a former Navy SEAL. He's the host of Lone Target on Discovery Channel, and he's just really unbelievably badass. John Cuff is the former head of the Northeast Fugitive Investigation Division of the U.S. Marshals Service. Did you know there's U.S. Marshals overseas? There are. And Chuck Jordan is president of both the International Bounty Hunter Union and the National Association of Fugitive Recovery Agents. Did you even know there were such organizations? There are. They're good. Welcome all to you. John Cuff, I'm going to begin to you. It's an easy question. How do we even know if Brian Laundrie has left the country?
Good evening, Ashley. Thank you for having me. Well, that's the million-dollar question right now. We don't know if he's alive or dead, right? So whether in fact he left the country or not, that needs to be developed during the investigative process here. So as much as emphasis is being put on this manhunt down in the area of Florida there, there's also a parallel investigation going on, looking at the digital grid, the electronics, family, friends, associates, things of that nature going back over the years. So that's really not transparent right now, right? So as part of that process, you're going to develop leads, right? And those leads, you got leads that are bringing you outside, or what we call OCONUS, outside continental United States. At that point, we, in the Marshal Service, we would get our international branch involved. And they, in turn, would get Interpol involved, okay? And Interpol would direct the leads to the various countries. Now, having said that, if the countries are contiguous here to the United States, for example, Mexico or Canada, the Marshal Service has a field office in Mexico. So we would deal directly with them, right? If it's in Canada, we have a great relationship with the Canadian authorities, okay? Toronto Fugitive Unit, the RCMPs, and so on. So, depending on what direction
I can tell you, being Canadian, honestly, John, that the cultural differences, if he's off to Canada, will not even be a whiff. It won't be an issue at all. But that's a great question, for you, Joel Lambert, and that is that if you do decide to go to somewhere, maybe not Canada, which is pretty easy, but maybe Mexico, which is a different language, and it is different money, and it's a whole different culture. How does the metric change if he heads south of the border?
Well, the issues that he's going to deal with are what you just brought up, Ashley. I mean, you have a money issue, you have a language issue, which Spanish, Mexico, I mean, there's a lot of gringos down there, so he wouldn't stick out as much. But a lot of places you'll be an obvious foreigner and you'll be suspected, you'll be suspicious. You won't be blending into the culture there. And then the cultural differences are the biggest one, because most places have different cultural norms and mores, and most people don't know those unless he's had a chance to do research before he goes there, or is intimately familiar with the culture he's trying to blend into. If he's trying to hide out someplace that he's not very familiar with, cultural mores will trip somebody up pretty quickly.
So just on that same vein for a second there, Joel, I got to ask you, if in fact he gets caught by the federales, or maybe anybody south of the border, he could be in Central, South America, generally speaking, do they treat you gently as you are, say, awaiting extradition back to the good old United States of America?
Well, I'll just put it this way. If I couldn't be in a Norwegian or Swedish prison, I'd want to be in an American prison, because most of the other prisons around the world are not up to the standard that we have here.
That's kind of what I thought you were going to say. No, I remember Joran Vandersloot is sitting in a prison in South America that is just horrendous. I mean, the conditions are not where I'd want to spend a nickel of my time. Okay, Chuck Jordan, first of all, the international bounty hunting business, I kind of knew it existed. I just don't know the extent of it. Is it big business? And do we already have legions of people like you sniffing out a potential Brian Laundrie catch?
Well, the majority of our members are domestic. We do have international members, and we work off of the Rewards for Justice program, which is administered by the U.S. State Department. They have a list of fugitives. Most of them are wanted terrorists, war crimes, genocide, drug trafficking, that sort of thing. And the rewards are, tend to be upwards of $5 million. So there's a huge financial incentive.
Yeah, I would think that a guy who's wanted right now for bank fraud wouldn't really even be on the radar of anybody. But, John Coffey, it's still a good question. When does someone like Brian Laundrie, who's an emerging potential target for not only marshals but bounty hunters or Interpol, when does that get on their radar? How serious does it have to be? How big a deal does it have to be?
Well, he's certainly on the radar now, and he has been for the past month or so. What he has to worry about, this guy is, assuming he's alive, he's going to be sleeping with one eye open. He's going to be mentally fatigued. Even though he does have survival skills, as what was reported, you have a mental stress factor here that he's going to be wondering how close the bounty hunters or the law enforcement authorities are to him. So wherever he is, he's going to have a need to access a source of information, whether it's a satellite radio, whether it's someone in the community or whatever. And that's why it's important if he's not in the wilderness, or even if he is in the wilderness, for vigilance on behalf of the public, to report any sighting right away and let law enforcement determine the validity of the sighting.
Okay, John, Joel, and Chuck, hold your thoughts for a second. When we come back after the break, I have a very important question about the importance of being wealthy, smart, connected, and supported with really good parents when it comes to being on the run and staying on the run. We're back right after this with this incredible team.
Before you go there, or fist bump there, or,
I can't wait to go there.
or reunite there. Start here. Walgreens makes it easy to stay protected wherever you go. Schedule your free flu shot and COVID-19 vaccine today.
Mission Control, we are go for launch. T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
She's eating the rocket.
Copy that. She is eating the rocket.
I assume we needed that.
Lunchables, built to be eaten.
She has eaten the rocket. Over.
That was quick.
And rewarding. I earn 3% cash back at drugstores with Chase Freedom Unlimited. That means I earn on my bug spray and my sunscreen. You ready to go fishing?
I got the bait.
I also earn 5% on travel purchase through Chase on this rental car. That lake is calling my name.
Don't you get seasick?
We'll find out. Come on. And I earn 3% on dining, including takeout.
So much for catching our dinner.
Some people are hunters, some are gatherers. I'm a diner. Earn big time with Chase Freedom Unlimited with no annual fee. How do you cash back? Chase, make more of what's yours.
Dignity. It demands that you can do simple things with ease while managing chronic pain. It demands a rapid test to help evaluate concussion in case something happens. And knowing your baby is getting the nutrition he needs, no matter how you choose to feed him. At Abbott, we fight for these moments, developing life-changing technologies because dignity demands it.
The best things America makes are the things America makes out here. The history she writes in her clear blue skies, the legends she births on hometown fields, and the future she promises. When we made Grand Wagoneer, proudly assembled in America, we knew no object would ever rank with the best things in this country. But we believed we could make something worthy of their spirit.
In 2016, I was working at the Amazon warehouse when my brother passed away, and a couple of years later, my mother passed away. After taking care of them, I knew that I really wanted to become a nurse. Amazon helped me with training and tuition. Today, I'm a medical assistant and I'm studying to become a registered nurse. Hindi ko kayo makakalimutan.
Now Dish has dedicated teams monitoring your signal 24.
Man, I love that song.
For years, I struggled with anxiety and depression. But when I was ready for help, finding the right care was nearly impossible.
Luckily, he had us.
As mental health professionals, we could help him navigate the system.
Not ever.
GetCerebral.com.
You're driving innovation. You're racing to the cloud. You need to do it securely.
Welcome back. I've got this fantastic panel of just international experts of what it takes to find people if they decide to flee the country. And with the three of you here, I wanted to remind our viewers of a couple of cases that really, had us understanding what it took to get people back when they flee. Andrew Luster was the heir to the Max Factor fortune. He fled to Mexico during his 2003 rape trial. He drugged 3 women with GHB. He was arrested 5 months later in Puerto Vallarta. He'd been convicted in absentia, was sentenced to 50 years in prison. But again, Max Factor means he had some money. Alex Kelly was known as the preppy rapist from Darien, Connecticut, somewhere I know familiar. I'm pretty familiar with it. He fled to Europe with the help of his well-off parents to avoid standing trial on raping 2 teenage girls back in '86, surrendered in Switzerland, convicted in '97, sentenced to 16 years. The similarity of those 2 cases, Joel Lambert, is that these people had money, lots of it. They had a support network. And, when it comes to taking off and being in unfamiliar terrain, money has to help, right, Joel?
Money makes everything easier. Money, as far as assets, as far as survival, as far as finding a place to live. I mean, cash talks. What someone couldn't do through ordinary means, a big pile of green can grease some wheels very easily.
Yeah, Brian Laundrie's parents don't seem to have a whole lot of money. They live in a pretty modest little yellow bungalow in Northport, Florida. Their company, as I understand it, is a juice servicing company. They're not, captains of industry. But Chuck Jordan, they are pretty committed to staying tight-lipped. And one of the other familiar issues with Alex Kelly, the preppy rapist, and with the Max Factor heir is that they had parents that were supportive. Does it all start and end with parents in a case like this?
Well, I think in this particular case, you may be, on the right track with that. It's obvious that, after Gabby Petito, was murdered, that Brian Laundrie didn't take off in just any direction. He went home with his parents. And he had a few weeks to plan his life as a fugitive. So, that, I think, is a good indication that that time was well spent putting together a plan, for his life as a fugitive, perhaps gathering some financial resources, reaching out to perhaps, his outer circle, maybe a friend or relative that might be able to, put him up and sort of help him keep a low profile.
Yeah, good point. John Cuff, the fact that this is a COVID era, does that make it harder just to skip town, skip the country, and get into another country?
Well, certainly internationally, that's a big obstacle. The other thing, too, just to change your identity, to acquire new identity, false identity, and things like that, that's going to be very difficult. So that's why I'm hedging my bets that if he's alive and he's hunkered down over here, he could be in a concrete jungle somewhere, holed up in a safe house somewhere. As we know, that vehicle was sitting out in that reservation out there. Law enforcement's doing a fantastic job down there in that search, and especially under those treacherous conditions. And now whether he got picked up there and brought somewhere else, obviously we don't know. That's $1 million question. But he's still going to need support.
Amen to that. He's going to need support. So to that end, Joel Lambert, play me out. Do you think he could stay hidden forever. I've got about 40 seconds. Take me away.
I don't think so. I think that, like the other guys are saying, a good deception trail. He had time to plan it. He could have dropped his car off there, brought all the assets and put all indications that he's in that reserve and pull all the attention there while he moves someplace else and Diddy mouths off to his secondary plan or what his primary plan was. I don't think that he's I don't think he's out there on his own surviving this long without help, and he's still alive and he's still, completely functional. I don't think that's a realistic scenario at this point.
Joel Lambert, can't thank you enough. John Cuff, thank you as well. Chuck, Jordan, just great information from the three of you. Appreciate it. I want to remind our viewers that if you see something, you say something. The FBI's tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324. You can be a part of this. Everybody has a part in this. Thank you for being a part of this program. We will be back tomorrow with more on this particular story. See you then.